Hello, my name is Rod Reed. I'm the Deputy Vice Chancellor here at Africa Nazarene University. I want to tell you a little bit of my background, a little bit of my story. Maybe it can somehow inspire somebody along the way. And maybe there's even this myth about everybody from the United States kind of growing up with a silver spoon in their mouth and having everything handed to them on a silver platter. Maybe I can help dispel that myth a little bit, but I'll leave that to you to decide after you hear what I have to say. I want to share with you my employment history in just a couple of minutes. All of the jobs I've ever had throughout my life. Probably can't talk about all of them, but I've learned a lot of lessons from them along the way, and I feel like God has really used those to help shape me and to prepare me to become the kind of person that can add value here at ANU and make a difference a little bit in this world. It all began for me when my 3 older brothers and I got a contract to be the caretakers at a cemetery. This was a cemetery that had acres of property, maybe 1,000 tombstones, and it was our job during the time that the grass was growing to go there and make sure everything was just kept neat and tidy, and the grass was always looking nice and well cut. People would come to the cemetery and lay some flowers at the tomb of their loved ones and pay respects. So it always had to look just right. I learned a lesson from that about discipline, that you have to be somebody that people can rely on, that they can count on, and you have to do your work and do it well, and you can't complain. Even if you'd rather be doing something else, if you've made a commitment to this, whatever it is, you need to keep that promise. After that, I was in high school. I got a job as a grocery store bagger. I was the guy that they sent the groceries to after they had ticked the price off, and I put it in the grocery bags and then carried those grocery bags out to the people's cars and loaded their cars up with their groceries. That was a pretty good job. I knew I needed to do that. This was in high school, and this, the situation in the States there, I could leave my high school. We weren't boarders at that time. We were never boarders. So I would get out of school, I would go to the grocery store and go to work in the evenings. The only problem with that was the evening manager at that store was a guy by the name of Dave, and Dave did not like me. He had it in for me for some reason. I could never seem to please him, but I decided I wasn't going to let this guy chase me from this job, because I knew my parents didn't have money to send me to university. If I wanted to go and study at the university, I had to raise money and pay for my own education. And so I stuck it out, persevered. And that's the discipline I think I learned through that situation. Even though he was trying to make it tough for me, I think even though he wanted to get me to quit, and there were other guys like me who were working there who did quit, I refused to let that happen. And so I did stick it out, and eventually I even won the respect of Dave. And he came to, I think, even like me. I don't know how that happened. I think it was just by the grace of God, but part of it was because I just decided I was going to persevere. You got to stick it out even in the tough times. Even when things aren't going well for you, you just got to persevere and make the best of the situation. And sometimes, maybe not always, but sometimes things will get better. And that's what happened to me. From there I went to college, to university. And again, in the States, we were on a semester system there, and so most of the young people like myself, we would go to university from September to May, and then after that we would go back to our hometowns and get jobs for the summer. We called them summer jobs. And I had 3 of those during my university years. I worked at a water pollution control plant. Again, I was the guy who mowed all the grass, who was the caretaker for the property kind of. But when I wasn't doing that kind of stuff, I was working with the guys on how to, to manage all of this waste from the whole city that was coming there and that would eventually get treated and put back into the river. I had another job during those years, those summer months. I worked on the street department, and in there I worked with the guys who were in charge of making sure all the city sewer lines were not getting clogged up and water backing up onto the streets of the city. So I traveled around with these 2 very rough guys, foul language, foul habits like smoking and chewing tobacco. They were the direct opposite from me. I mean, I was this clean kid who was studying to be a minister of the gospel, and these guys were just about as rough as they came. But you know, the Lord helped me to connect with them in some way, and we became good friends. They even invited me at the end of the summer when I was getting ready to go back to the university to go out to their favorite bar called the Green Parrot to celebrate. And I made a deal with them though. I said, I'll go with you to the Green Parrot if you'll come with me to church on Sunday and hear me preach. And that was the end of that deal. But at any rate, I learned how to get along with people who are different from me, people who were, you know, widely different background. Even though we're all from that same small town, they had a very different lifestyle than what I had. And somehow I learned a lesson of people skills. Very important in life. You need to learn how to get along with people.